Morning, class. Hello. Hello. All right, there we go. All right, so, okay. Working on it, trying to get that keynote. All right, use the intermediate value theorem to show that this function has 0 between 1 and 2. Now, if you go back to the analogy, my joke to go along with this. Did the chicken cross the road? At some point, should it cross the road? Okay, so now intermediate value has to do with 0. Has to do with 0. So let's take a look at this. So in that function, I want to know if it's going to cross between 1 and 2. So let's do f of 1. F of 1. So I plug in 1, I get 1 plus 1 minus 1 minus 2. Negative 1, right? Okay, good. Negative 1. All right, so now let's do 2. F of 2. So that's going to give me 8 plus 4 minus 2 minus 2, right? My answer is 8. Now, did the chicken cross the road? Yes, the road here is 0. The road here is 0. So if it starts at negative 1 but ends at 8, somewhere it crossed 0, didn't it? So the answer is yes. Okay, intermediate values show that it has 0 between there and there. So using intermediate value theorem, this is there must be a 0 between there and there. I could do the math to try and find it, but it's not asking for that. I'm just showing that it is going to be. So right here, that's somewhere between, it's got to cross 0. That's the whole idea between intermediate value theorem. And now, does my joke make sense? Okay, so yeah, it had to cross the road. Okay, to approximate real zeros of the function, okay, has a 0 on the interval. You guys get calculators here. All right, so using intermediate value theorem, approximate the real 0 root of this function right here, okay, and correct the 3 decimal places. Okay, this one kind of sucks. I really hate these problems, but they work out, and I'll show you why. So we know that there is a 0 between there and there, right? Okay, so I know that there is going to be 1 between those two. So I'm going to go and I'm going to say if it's between, I'm going to do between 1 on my number line and 2 on my number line. So I know that f of 1 was negative 1, and f of 2 equals 8. What do you think it's closer to? Think about it. In your domain is only between 1 and 2. In your domain, where do you think it would approximate to be? Huh? Okay, so maybe closer to 1. So like 1.2. So now, in your calculators, I'm going to show you guys, we're going to do the bars again. So, right here, so plug it in there. It was x cubed, right? X caret 3 plus x squared. And then it was minus x minus 2. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, good. So I'm going to go enter that. It's there. So we know it's somewhere in there, right? So once you hit enter, it graphs it for you. Looks like it's going to be closer to 1, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to go out of that, go to here. So let's say 1.1. Bars 1.1. There it is. 1.1, enter. It's still negative, isn't it? Okay. Let's do 1.2. Bars 1.2. It's still negative, isn't it? Okay. Bars 1.3. It's positive. So because because it changes from negative to positive, I now know that there has to be a 0 in between those two. Okay, so now I have narrowed it down in between 1.1 and 1.2. So I now know it's going to be between 1.1 and 1.2 on my number line, right? So it's supposed to be between those two. Yes? And this says correct to 3 decimal points. So right now I should have at least 1 decimal point right now, right? I should have 1. So my answers should be saying 1.1 something. So that's 1 decimal point for this. Was it 1.3? Yeah. Did I write it wrong? No, you're right. 1.2, 1.3. Thank you. You get a cookie for that one. That's a good one. Thank you. All right. So see, one person's paying attention. 1.2 and 1.3. Okay, so between those two now, right? Let's go back to the calculator. So let's take a guess. Let's say 1.23. I don't know. Bars, 1.23. Uh-oh, that's positive. 1.22. That's still positive. So let's try it again. 1.21. Still positive. And 1.20. So let me see. 1.2. Bars. 1.20. Ooh, look at that. So I know it's changing from negative to positive where? Okay, so now it's going to be in between, okay, 0 and 1 now, right? Okay, so now I know, so I'm getting it down, so now I know it's going to be 1.20 something, right? So 1.20, yes? So it's going to be 1.21. So it's between those now. It's somewhere between those. Okay, so let's go back to the calculator. So now I have 2 decimal points already that I've actually said it's going to be it. So let's go 1.205. Okay, 1. Did you already do this? Yeah. Okay, she's going ahead of us. All right, so let's see. Vars here, 1.201. That's a negative. Let's see. So let's do another vars. 1.202. Uh-oh. Crap. Vars 1.203. Still negative. 1.205. Uh-oh. Bars 1.206. There we go. So I know it's changing in between there and there now, right? So by putting those in, I'm using my calculator to help me figure this out, to find out these zeros in between here and here. So I know it's going to be 1.205 something, right? Okay, because that's going too far. So in between those two numbers, there is a 0. And that's what it means by going 3 decimal points. Okay, correct to 3 terms. So 205. So it's going to be about 1.205. Because 206 goes too far, right? Too far. So 206 would be above it. So it's going to be between those two numbers. So that's what it means, correct to 3 decimal places. So that is a calculator type of problem. And if you were to just use graphing function or something on your calculator, you get an answer, right? You get an answer, but it's not going to be the same. To do this, you have to use this method to get the answer. This is an AP question, and they're exact to this point. And they'll always throw in 1. If you just graph it and look at it, it's not going to give you the same answer. Okay, they do that intentionally, that it's not going to be the same answer, so you have to do it this method. Okay? So, yes it is, but if you look at what we did, as I was explaining it and talking about it, it is a calculator type of function where you can go through and simplify like I was doing. So if you're doing it by yourself, it should just take moments to do. If you're teaching it to the class and you're talking about it and you're saying, oh, hey, look, it's too far. Yeah, you don't have to do all that, okay? So it's not that bad. All right, now, so anyone else have any questions about what we did today? All right, so we're going to use the rest of the time to go over, finish work, and everything else. All right, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button.